Hey everybody, we're going to talk today about power stations. And this is an unsponsored video, but from someone who has used dozens and dozens of power stations over the years. And they all have their pros and cons. We use them out in the field, we use them here at the property to do projects and keep our off-grid lives comfortable and help us get things done. So I hope I can share some of the things I've learned over the years about portable power stations, and I hope some of these tips can help save you guys some money, time, and effort. So guys, as I said earlier in the video, this is not a sponsored video. Nobody asked me or compensated me to tell you one thing or another about any of these power stations. So we'll cover some of the features of every unit, but we're not going to beat a dead horse here. But to be honest, being a YouTuber and dealing with off-grid solutions and portable power stations for many years, I have to say these units have come a long ways. Their capabilities are fantastic now. They charge quick and last a long time. And these four companies are good companies that have a pretty good reputation for taking care of their people and building a good product. Now we could sit here and have the conversation of who's the best, but I kind of see power stations as a Chevy, Dodge, Ford kind of situation. They all have things that could be improved, but in general, they get the job done. But that being said, each company does do things a little differently. Some units can complicate the process. Some use proprietary plugs, just so you can charge them with solar panels. And some units are so big that they're hard to move around and use. And some units are so small, they couldn't keep you going for the day. So even these units as you see around me, they are the top four companies that I would recommend for anyone looking to get into a solar generator or portable power station. And it's not an accident that we came up with these four companies. These four companies have a good reputation, they get you a good bang for your buck, and they make a good product. Let's take a look at a few. Alright, so before we get into brands and each unit and some of the features they have on them, let's try to categorize these power stations in sizes. I like to think of it as there's four different size power stations, just like t-shirts, small, medium, large, and extra large. Let me give you an example of what I consider each size. We have a small unit like this, under 500 watt hours of capacity, but still could charge our DC devices and some small AC devices with a standard outlet. Then we have our 1,000 watt hour units. These are what I consider our medium size units. These are 1,000 watt hours, one from Jackery, one from Bluetti, and one from EcoFlow. Now these medium-sized units have come a long ways in the last few years. They used to be close to $2,000. They used to have smaller inverters in them, between like 600 and 800 watt inverters. Those inverters could, run small devices, but they're not real good when you're talking coffee makers or heating plates or tools. Tools are a big thing that we run here around our property. Sawzalls, circular saws, table saws, stuff like that. What I like to do is find a unit and look at the largest tool that I'm going to run. Say we have a table saw that surges at like 2,500 watts and runs at 1,500 watts. I want a unit that has about a 2,000 watt inverter in it. And that's where these medium-sized units have come a long ways the last few years. They used to have the 600 to 800 watt inverters, and now they're pushing up to 1,800 watts. So that makes a huge difference when we're looking at our needs and wants. We have a Jackery here, 1,000 watt hour unit, 1,500 watt inverter. We have an 1,800 watt inverter in this EcoFlow. This is a 1,000 watt hour unit as well. This Bluetti will push 1,800 watts. Now this is great because a lot of our tools will surge or run right around 1,500 watts. The Jackery with 1,500 watts may barely be able to run that, but that 1,800 watts can handle it no problem. So now we can use a medium-sized power station or solar generator that's easier to move around, not so heavy. You're talking 25 to 30 pound range, so they're easy and mobile, but you can still run larger tools and devices. Now, you're not going to run those tools for days on end, but if you're doing like we do or we build around here, they last a long time because you're just using short little bursts of energy. A unit like this will also run a refrigerator for like a day because a refrigerator doesn't run continuously. It only runs for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, turns off for an hour or two. Runs 15 minutes, turns off for an hour or two. So a medium-sized unit now has way more capabilities than they used to years ago. And the prices have gotten kind of ridiculously low on these units. Small power stations you can get for $200 to $300. Medium-sized units are like $500, give or take $50. Now again, I'm not trying to seem salesy here. I'm just saying that the value has come a long ways. That used to be the real big downfall with power stations, solar generators, is you used to pay a lot more extra money for the convenience. So moving on from our medium-sized units, we have our large units. We have an Anchor 2000, we have a Blue Eddy Elite 200, and we have the Jackery Home Power 3000. Now the Home Power 3000 kind of feeds into the extra large units. The only reason I would classify it as a large unit is because somehow they have made it extremely small for its capabilities. It's only 59 pounds, whereas the 2,000 watt-hour Blue Eddy is 55 pounds, I believe, 53 pounds. So they're about same in size, but this has more battery capacity. 50% more battery capacity, actually. Another reason I would classify the Home Power 3000 as a large unit is because it doesn't have expandable options. Expansion batteries cannot be added to it. So you get what you get, kind of like with the large units from Anchor and from Blue Eddy. So if backup home power isn't something you're in need of for long term, like if you're just doing a power outage, or let's say you want to go camping for 2 days, Saturday, Sunday, I would say a large unit would take good care of you. You don't need to expand it. You don't need to add or stack batteries. Here with the bigger extra large Blue Eddy, we can expand that unit. Same thing with the extra large Anchor or an extra large Jackery. Some of the other Jackery units do have expansion options. Jackery Explorer 2000, which is actually smaller than this in capacity, it had the expansion purposes. But if you're looking for longer term, say 3, 4, 5 days of battery capacity to run your critical loads at your home during a power outage, or say you want to supplement your power usage at your house, I would look at an extra large unit. You have the Anchor F3800 Plus, and you have the Apex 300 from Blue Eddy. Now the Anchor 3800 is a 3800 watt-hour unit. There's 4 times the battery capacity of a 1000 watt-hour unit. And it also has a 6,000 watt inverter in it. Now, if you're not running large devices like washers and dryers, or trying to run air conditioning units during a grid down situation, and you're just running your critical loads, that 6,000 watt inverter isn't necessary. But it's a nice option if you need it. These units are gauging toward home power backup or full-time home power off-grid solutions. Here's something to consider with all power stations, is all power stations take a little bit of power to keep them on. So the larger power station you go, if you don't need 6,000 watt inverter, then no reason to run a 6,000 watt inverter. Our original system that we built ourselves for our cabin, we kept it small as we possibly could. When you keep the inverter and power output as small as possible, that means you're going to consume or have an idle consumption of a lower value. This Anchor F3800 is a great unit. It's even split phase. You can run 240 volts on it. So you can run your washer dryer with it. You can run your cooktop stove if you'd like, because it has the 240 watt capabilities. But if you don't need that, it's going to draw 2 to 3 times the power just sitting idle as a unit like the 1000 or any of the medium-sized units. A good compromise is the Apex 300. This has a 3600 watt inverter in it, I believe. That means it draws a little bit less. They've focused on keeping the idle consumption low. So this unit could sit there idle, like when we're doing power tools, like when we're building, it's going to consume 20, 30 watts just sitting idle. Now here, we're drawing 60 watts, 70 watts all day long. So that's going to drain our battery down in just a couple days without even using it, or without drawing with tools or refrigerators or home power. So idle consumption is something you really need to pay attention to if you're looking at these extra large units. One of the nice things I like about the Apex 300 is the optional accessories that they're selling them like that. They're also selling them on the side so they can keep the price down. And then if you don't need an accessory, then you don't have to pay for it. So that's pretty cool. I like that as well. So what's important to you? Are you going camping where you want something to be extremely mobile and you just need a little bit of light? Well, see, this one doesn't have a light. There's another thing, no light. So if you're going camping in a tent, get a unit with a light. If you're just going somewhere where you need a little bit of mobile power to charge your phone or charge your camera gear, if you're a photographer or vlogger or a YouTuber, or a lot of folks have kids where they go camping, sometimes they need a few minutes to wind down and a few minutes of screen time. So we can charge that device with a smaller unit like this. No problem. Nothing fancy. Gets the job done, has your DC plugs that you need, has the option of an AC plug, but you're not going to run anything over 600 watts with this bad boy. And even if you find something for 600 watts, it's going to take a while. It's going to drain down pretty quick. So one of the most important features to any power station is charging it. Most power stations built in the last year or so have great AC charging capabilities. They all can charge, and you can vary the charging speeds all the way from 500 watts up to 1800 watts with a standard AC plug. Plug it into the wall at home, charge it before your trip, and then just use it while you're gone. No need for solar panels, no need for a generator. Just use it while you're camping. When it's gone or dead, it's dead. Power stations from the past used to only be able to charge with 2, 3, 500 watts of AC power. Now we can charge them up to 1800 watts with most larger units. That'll charge them up in an hour. So knowing we can charge them with the AC plug from the grid or a generator in just about an hour, that solves a lot of problems. You don't need to go looking for one that can charge up fast, because most of them do charge up pretty fast now. One thing that I really look for and that I find really important in a power station is solar charging. This is where you really want to pick the right unit and find a unit that does good solar charging. Let me give you an example and show you on a couple of these units. So I'm going to go through 4 or 5 units here, show you the solar charging ports and what they're capable of. Let's start with a Jackery Explorer 1000. Great little unit. 1500 watt inverter in it. Has a light for camping, so you can turn the light on when you're camping. Has 1000 watts of battery capacity, all the plugs you need. Just like most units. Here's that AC charging port I'm telling you about. We could charge from the grid or from a generator in just about an hour with AC power. So charging these portable power stations or solar generators with solar while using them or to prepare for a trip can be kind of tricky, or it can be real easy. Jackery kind of complicates this process with using a proprietary plug and making you use their solar panels with their unit. Now, there are adapters that we can use different solar panels with their units, but their input capacity is slightly depreciated. It charges great when using their solar panels, and it charges great with AC, but you are limited to some degree. As you can see, barrel plugs. It doesn't tell us the input capacity, doesn't tell us anything other than what this port is for. So one of the bigger companies that everybody on YouTube deals with is EcoFlow. We've just recently worked with them a couple times. I don't have as much experience, but I'll show you their solar inputs. So again, this is a 1000 medium-sized unit. So here's our charging ports. We have the AC plug here, so we could charge from the grid or from a generator. And look, actually this medium-sized unit has an extra battery port for expansion batteries. So this is something new to a medium-sized unit. Most medium-sized units do not expand. So that's pretty cool. But right here we have our charging ports. We have dual charging ports. This is an XT60S, I believe. It has a little bit higher input value. We could charge with 11 to 60 volts, 15 amp max per port. But it has 2 of them. So we can throw quite a bit of solar into this unit. Using this XT60i port on the EcoFlow creates a more versatile and standardized charging system. The XT60 plugs have been used for a long time with solar panels. So we could charge this unit with any solar panel as long as the numbers match up. So over here on a similar size unit from Bluetti, we have all our standard outlets. Here's our DC input. Here's our standard XT60. We could charge this with any solar panel. Again, between 12 volts and 60 volts as set on the unit. We could put up to 1,000 watts of solar power into this unit. It'll take up to 20 amps. Over here on our other EcoFlow unit, there's that XT60 again, and our AC plug. XT60. See if you guys see a pattern here? And here we go. Anchor 2000. AC plug, XT60. Now the Anchor will only accept 11 to 32 volts at 10 amps, or 32 volts to 60 volts at 20 amps. So here's where this solar charging really becomes not complicated, but important to which one we need. I personally don't use these units at home or just for short trips. I use them up here off-grid at the property. So I always want to charge them with solar panels. So I'm always looking for a unit that has the highest range and best charge controller inside of it. That solar input is important to me. I want that charge controller in the unit to take the highest range of voltage and the most amps. Under 60 volts is pretty hard to put 1,000 watts into a unit. Ideally, for a portable power station or solar generator, we want about 150 volt maximum of solar input. That's about the best you could get even on an extra large unit right now without extra accessories. So here's our extra large Anchor Solix F3800 Plus. We have dual charging ports here. This is a proprietary plug, but they include it with the unit, and it goes to an MC4 cable. So we can plug it right into the unit, and we can do it with 2 arrays. And the range is great. Here's an example of a great range. So not only can the Anchor take 2 solar inputs or 2 separate solar arrays, but it could take 11 volts all the way up to 165 volts and 17 amps. So to give you an example of how much power that is, here's our eco-worthy tracking system. This has 1,200 watts of solar panels on it. Each panel is 195 watts, 6 times 195. Each panel is also 24 volts and 10.5 amps. So if we run all those in series, we get about 150 volts. So this solar tracker is a perfect option to run and dump 1,200 watts of power into one of these ports. But this is an example of what you want to look for. You want high solar input range. The AC ports in general are limited to what a 120 volt AC plug will go, which is 15 amps. The AC charging is limited not by necessarily the unit, but a 15 amp plug from your home can only push 1,800 watts. So if you're going tent camping for a day or two, pick a small unit. Keep it portable. Charge up your small devices. If you're in a hurricane or storm-prone area, tornadoes, flooding, anything like that, and you need power for more than a day or two, and it's not really a comfort thing, it's a necessity, I would highly recommend getting the largest unit you can afford. If you're keeping your essential stuff at home and necessary things running when needed, pick up a larger unit. Pick up an extra large unit. Pick up one expansion battery with it. And then later on, if you decide you need more, there's always the option. If you're off-grid and you're building or have a business where you need power in your vehicle throughout the day, I would say a medium-sized unit is just fine. We use medium-sized units around here perfectly fine to run our tools because we're only using them for short bursts at a time. And then we can charge them up at the end of the day. If you're looking at solar like a hobby or like a way to save some money, pick up a extra large unit like the Apex 300. Buy a few batteries for it. Try to minimize your electrical costs at your home using some solar. I think that's a great option. Just like picking the vehicle that's right for you. If you tow a lot, a sports car convertible would do you no good. Or if you drive 100 miles each way to work, get a commuter, a little gas sipper. Just makes sense. Picking a power station or solar generators, no different. Pick the one that works for you. We have had some bad luck with off-brands and random companies that are kind of fly-by-night, so be careful when you pick a company. The top 4 behind me, they're reputable, they've been around a long time, and they have a good support system behind them. And I don't think they're going anywhere anytime soon. So it kind of goes without saying, the portable power station or solar generator that you decide to get for yourself has the right plugs and outlets on it. So guys, as a wrap up to this video, to kind of go over things, make sure you pick the right size. I believe these top 4 brands all have a good customer service base and quality build and take good care of their customers. There's always people complaining online that they didn't get the best of the best, but it doesn't matter what you do nowadays, you always get a little bit of that with every brand and every company. But these companies have a lot of support and a lot of back in the market, and they're going to be there when you need them in the end. With all the storms and crazy weather we've had in this country the last few years, it's really nice to have a backup power supply, even if it's just for a couple days, or maybe get a couple solar panels and it can charge your communication devices, your phones, get your internet going so you could communicate with people. Make sure you can keep your refrigerator cold so you can keep your food from spoiling. Keep the lights on at night. Keep a fan going to keep you cool if needed. Do you want to be able to pick it up and carry it around easily, or do you want to be able to hook 10 extra batteries to it so you could go for a week or 2 without power? So make sure you pick the unit that fulfills your needs. I appreciate you guys letting me tell you about power stations, solar generators. I have a lot of experience with them, so I'm happy to share my knowledge and information that I have. Please ask any questions in the comment section below. If you have a friend or family that's been looking for some power backup, or you have concerns for that you feel like needs some power in their life for emergency type situations, please share this video with them and ask some questions. Let's get a little network going in the comment section and help everyone. And I will answer every question I can. Appreciate you guys letting me tell you about all our power stations and our experiences through the years. All great companies here behind me. Make sure you support them. They keep a lot of YouTubers in the business and keep us all going. So we appreciate them all. We'll put some links in the description box below too, so you can find any of these units easily. All right? And we appreciate you guys sticking with us, and we'll see you hopefully in the next video. Subscribe if you like videos like this, and let me know if I should do more of them, okay? Best wishes.